29, English and Media Studies teacher and political activist with the Colin Roach Centre. Lisa, 29, student, climbing and mountaineering enthusiast, and environmental and social justice activist with groups including Earth First. Naomi, 32, gardener, social justice campaigner and environmental activist with Earth First. The 4 undercover police spies who targeted the women: Bob Robinson, 29, real name Bob Lambert, 35. John Barker, 27, real name John Dines, 32. Mark Cassidy, 27, real name Mark Jenner, 31. Mark Stone, 34, real name Mark Kennedy, 34. Given the intrusion we were subjected to, 4 of us wished to remain anonymous, so are identified only by first names, some of which are pseudonyms. Other names in the book have also been changed to protect privacy. Those spied on have a right to anonymity in a way that was never afforded to them by the police. We do not accept that any of the police officers who have perpetrated the kinds of abuses described in this book are entitled to anonymity. Those who commit such serious abuses should have to answer for their actions.
Belinda. Officer Bob Robinson. East End, London, April 1987. I didn't want to go to the party. It was a Monday night and I had to be up early for work the next day. But my old university friend Simon persuaded me to go. Just because you want to get with that girl, I teased. Simon looked up, smirked and shrugged his shoulders as though he'd been caught out. OK, Belinda, but when did you ever say no to a party? I grinned, it was true. The party was being held in a shared house in East London, and by the time we'd arrived it was already in full swing. There was around 100 people crammed inside an impressive Victorian townhouse, spread across 3 floors. People had spilled into the garden and street outside, as music thudded from within. Unfortunately, the target of Simon's affection seemed to be the target of everyone else's too. Although I didn't know her myself, she'd gone to the same university as us, and he'd already told me on the way over that she was involved in animal rights. I was a vegetarian, so I understood the sentiments and supported the ideology. However, I was more interested in other issues, like world inequalities, women's and children's rights myself. I'd met Simon in my first year at uni, and we'd been firm friends ever since. He was extremely well read and great fun to be around. Once we graduated, we moved into a shared house in London with 6 other university friends to try and seek our fortune. We knew that living in London would help us to secure professional jobs, something so much harder to come by up north. None of us were remotely involved in political activism, other than attending the odd student demo and having a shared dislike for Margaret Thatcher's policies. We graduated a few years earlier from the University of Lancaster, and I had recently started a new job as an accounts assistant with the Central Electricity Generating Board, CEGB. We'd arrived at the party around 9 o'clock, armed with cans of Stella. The living room was thick with smoke, and the conversation was loud. People were desperately trying to be heard, above the sound of the Smiths, This Charming Man, as it boomed out of the speakers in the corner of the room. I felt a bit of an outsider at the party, because this wasn't my usual crowd. There seemed to be a lot of political types there, so I decided that if the subject arose, I'd keep my job to myself. To me, my job was a means to an end, in that it paid the bills and enabled me to further my career. Some of the people here looked pretty hardcore, and I thought they may have disapproved of me working for the CEGB because of its association with nuclear power. A crush of people had congregated in the kitchen. Coats had been draped over the back of the sofa, and an ashtray had accidentally tipped over.